Hello everyone and welcome to the first class in physics for all college students. This is where we introduce you to the course known as physics. Now, prior to now, you have been exposed to what is known as basic science and technology. And there's this common saying where we say curiosity is what bets knowledge. That is, you begin to observe what goes on around you in your natural world and ask the questions: why does this appear this way? What is the reason behind why these things happen in these particular patterns and things like that? So when you are observing your natural world and then investigating about why things occur the way they do and also experiment with them, what you are practicing in general there is called sciences. Okay? And when it comes to the field of sciences, there are different branches. We have what is known as physical science, where we look at physics and chemistry. Now, we also have what is known as the biological science, where you consider biology, where you consider microbiology, where you consider zoology, and even botany. Now, beyond those two, we also have what is known as environmental sciences. Now, in this field, what you are looking at are things like geology, you are looking like environmental biology, you are looking at meteorology, amongst others like that. Then we also have the social science groups, where you look at subjects like economics, where you look at things like psychology, sociology, and the likes. Those are classed as social sciences. And then finally, we have what is known as the formal science, where you consider things like mathematics and even computer sciences. All of these are the 5 branches of sciences, and you have been given a little bit of introduction to all of this, right? But what we want to do now is look critically at one of the physical sciences, which is physics. So in this topic, which is the first topic in the SS1 first term scheme of work, I will be looking at introduction to physics. Now, what we'll be looking at here is first we'll define what physics means. You need to understand what is physics so that you'll be able to gather knowledge on why you are really studying this subject as a whole. Because when you don't understand what you study, then the result is lost in the process. So we need to understand what physics is, and then we look at what are the various branches that are under physics, because it's quite broad as well and it has different branches. So we have to identify these branches. Then we also have to pick out the importance of physics as a subject. Why is physics important to our world? And then we also have to ask ourselves, why really do we study physics? Because there are so many reasons why a person might decide to take a particular subject and study. Everybody has their own reason, and it is the reason that drives the kind of knowledge that they get. So we're going to be looking at what are the common reasons why people study physics. Now, it's important that I mention that your reason may be different from mine, may be different from the next person. But when we look at this common reason, it helps us to inform ourselves of what should be the reason why we who are exposed to physics for the first time should really take it even more seriously. You get to see more reasons that can inform you on how you should take it even more seriously than you have been doing before. And then finally, we will consider the career opportunities that are in physics, because those who study physics often have a career in their mind, something that they want to do, something they want to practice. So you can then look at what are the career opportunities in physics, then you see if they are in line with what you aim to do with your life. So this is basically what we're going to be looking at. And please don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. You know that we are your sure plug when it comes to giving you real academic help. So ensure that you are subscribed to the Oya Learn channel, and also ensure that you like the videos and also share them so that we can reach even many more students who need videos like this. So if you're ready, let's go on and then look at the definition for physics. Now let us look at what physics means. To everyone who is exposed to this subject for the very first time, it is important that you can define physics clearly. Now, there are 2 things that are very important in the definition of physics. The first being matter, that is anything that has a mass and occupies space. Now, matter can go from things that are solid to liquid to gases and even plasma, right? So everything that has a mass and can occupy space is what we are looking at when we talk about physics. Okay, and then the second thing that is very important to the definition of physics is energy, which is the ability or capacity to do work. So we are looking at things that can occupy space and have mass, and we're also looking at the ability of these things to do certain work. Okay, so if we're going to put these together, we can give physics this definition, which is written here, where I say physics is the scientific study of the natural world. Now, when we say study of the natural world, that is, you are looking at the matter that we find in our natural world. That is, those things that have mass and occupy space in the natural world around us. And then it involves the study of this matter and energy, that is the ability to do work. Now, it also look at the basic laws that governs the behavior of the physical universe. Now, what physics seeks to understand is that how this matter behave, that is their correlationship with energy. It doesn't just explain it at a higher level, even at the subatomic levels up to the entire vast cosmos. It's looking at everything within the physical universe and how they behave in terms of energy. That is, can they produce energy? What energy can do to them? That is the effect of energy on those different matter substances. Okay, so this is how we can define physics. So let's go over it one more time. That is, physics is the scientific study of the natural world around us. It involves the study of matter, energy, and the basic laws that govern the behavior of the physical universe. I believe you got it now. So now let's look at the branches of physics. Now, physics itself is divided into many branches. Now, in each of those branches, they have their area of focus or things that they study, and all of them have their importance as well as their advantages. Okay, so we'll be looking at 10 of these branches of physics. So please follow us as we go, and don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. It's important to us that this video reach as many who need helpful content like this. So please keep sharing. And if you have any question at all what we are doing, please drop it in the comment section, and we promise to attend to all of your comments. So now back to the branches of physics. Now, when it comes to the study of motion, that is movement of objects, when we look at how forces causes objects to move. Now, what actually causes motion is force. So when you are studying how forces tends to make some objects move in some particular manner, and I'm not talking about just contact forces, even when it comes to the non-contact forces such as gravity, such as electromagnetism and the likes like that. So when all of this causes objects to move and you study that and how this relates with energy. Now, this is a branch in physics that is known as mechanics. So whenever you are looking at anything that has to do with motion, you are calculating anything that has to do with the movement of an object, or how the energy produced or consumed by that object relates with the force applied, then you are considering mechanics. Now, another branch of physics is the one that has to do with heat and temperature. It also considers energy transfer from one point to another, and also study the relationship between heat energy itself, work, and other forms of energy. Now, this branch of physics is known as thermodynamics. So whenever you are doing anything in physics where you have to calculate for heat energy or calculate for temperature or look at the relationship between heat energy and a certain work done, then you are considering the branch of physics known as thermodynamics. Now, the third branch of physics we're going to be examining is known as electromagnetism. Now, what this studies or examines is the behavior of electricity. It looks at what happens, how is electricity generated, how does it move, and things like that. It also considers magnetism and also the relationship between these. And then also it studies light. because light energy itself can be both a wave and a particle, and light is considered as an electromagnetic radiation in the sense that it exhibits the characteristics of electricity and magnetism all in one. So whenever you are doing any study that has to do with this, that is, you are looking at electricity in a circuit, you are looking at magnetism, you are looking at light energy, electromagnetic waves, whenever you are looking at things that has to do with such as transformers, capacitors and the likes, then you are in electromagnetism. Now, another field of physics or branch of physics is known as optics. Now, what is done in this particular branch is that you focus on things like the behavior and properties of light. Now, there are about 4 properties of light that cut across all types of waves. We're looking at things like reflection, refraction, diffraction, and interference. Now, we're still going to explain all of this in details when we get to these different branches as we go in the course of this study, right? But when we look at reflection, that is the bouncing back of light when it hits a surface. Refraction is when it bends by the time it moves from one medium to another. Diffraction is when it bends around an obstacle, and then interference is when 2 waves are superimposed into one another. Now, it's important to also mention that there's another property of wave that has not been mentioned here, which is peculiar to only light wave, and that is polarization. So whenever you are doing anything that has to do with this, then you are studying optics. Now let's look at even more branches of physics. The 5th branch of physics we're seeing here is nuclear physics. And what nuclear physics studies is the properties of atomic nuclei. There are nuclear reactions, and then radioactivity and nuclear stability. Now, if you recall at the beginning of the video, I did mention that physics seeks to understand how everything in the physical world behaves, and it takes it from even subatomic particles up to the entire vast cosmos. So when you're looking at these atomic particles such as nuclei, when they come together, fusing together to make even bigger nucleus, or when a big nucleus breaks down to give you smaller nuclei with the release of high energy. Remember, physics looks at the energy involved as well. So when you are doing this kind of study, the branch of physics you are in is nuclear physics. Now, the 6th branch is quantum mechanics, and this is also another branch of physics that focus on subatomic particles. So whenever you are looking at the description of the behavior of matter and energy, and at this point you are considering atomic and subatomic levels only. Now, this does not concern itself with the bigger atom, the molecules, the compounds, or even the vast cosmos as it were. It looks at the atoms involved or the subatomic particles involved here. So when you are describing their behavior of such atomic particles or subatomic particles and the energy involved, then the branch of physics there is quantum mechanics. Now, for number 7, it is known as relativity, and there are 2 branches of this relativity. We have the special relativity and general relativity. Now, together, what they explore is the nature of space and time. Okay, and what special relativity focuses on is it deals with objects that are always moving at constant speed. When you're studying space-time with objects that are moving in constant speed, then that is special relativity. But when the study takes you to begin to consider description of things like gravity and how gravity affects space-time, then the part of relativity you are studying at that point is known as general relativity. The next branch of physics we're going to consider here is particle physics. Now, during your junior secondary days, you must have been taught about atoms. And we know that the basic building blocks of atoms at the core, we have what is known as the nucleus, and then we have electrons that go around it, right? So when you study this, you also see that that nucleus, there are 2 tiny particles that fuse together at that point, where we look at things like protons and neutrons. Now, many believe this is the smallest particles that you can find in an atom. But beyond this, there are even more tinier particles. I mean, more subatomic particles to consider. So if you're the type that is more interested in all these subatomic particles, then particle physics would be one branch of physics that would interest you. Because what it examines is the properties and interactions of fundamental particles such as the quarks. Now, the quarks are the basic building block of protons. Okay, and then we have leptons, which is basically electrons and other neutrinos and the likes like that. And then we have gauge bosons such as photons that carry energy and things like that. So when you are studying these subatomic particles, they are way smaller compared to protons, compared to neutrons and the likes. So when you pay special interest to this type of particles known as the subatomic particles, then the area of physics that you're interested in is particle physics. Now, there are some who are interested in what we know as astrophysics. Now, what this does is it applies basic principles to understand the behavior of celestial bodies. Now, when we say celestial bodies, we are referring to things like stars, galaxies, and black holes. This is one area of physics that interests a whole lot of people because even from time immemorial, people have always wondered what goes on beyond the surface of the earth. You know, even what we know today as planets, if you recall, it actually comes from a word known as planetes, which means wanderers. So for many years, people continue to look at those things that move in our space, and then they call them wanderers, or as we know it today, planets. And even you see that at the beginning, they didn't get it right because they consider things like the sun, consider things like the moon as planets at that time because they were wandering across the space. And this continued until the time of Copernicus, which then came in to set us straight and explain that the moon is not a planet and the sun is not a planet, and even told us that we ourselves, that is, Earth itself, is a planet. And then from then on, so many people continue to apply formulas, calculations, observations to discover even more planets. As of now, we have about 8 planets that is in our own solar system. That is from Mercury all the way to Neptune and the likes. But when you look at beyond our own solar system, there are also other planets. We call them exoplanets. So if you are interested in taking this kind of studies or studying stars, how they behave in space, then the field of physics that you are interested in is astrophysics. And then the last branch of physics where I will stop on branches of physics is geophysics. And this one considers the study of the Earth's internal and external physical processes. When you're looking at seismology, gravity, and magnetic field of the Earth, the field of physics you're interested in there is geophysics. Now, please understand that I have not arranged this in any particular order. They are just branches of physics that I just mentioned as we go. So there is no one that is more important than the other. It's a case of interest. So I don't know, over the course of what we have discussed so far, you might have found one part of physics that interests you. Now, this is why it's important that you take physics as a whole first and then study them individually so that you can then pick out that part of physics that interests you more, and then you can make that your specialty. Then you begin to study it in more details as you go. Now, please, if there's any question you'd like to ask on any of these branches of physics, perhaps you're curious to know more because maybe it interests you and you want to find out a little more to see whether you want to make it your specialty, please feel free, drop a question for us in the comment section and we will definitely attend to all of your questions. And please don't forget, continue to like, share, and subscribe. Now let us look at the importance of physics. You see, the importance of physics cannot be overemphasized. It cuts across several aspects of the human life. However, I'm going to mention 4 importance of physics in this video, and please feel free to also add what you consider to be an importance of physics in the comment section. So I'm expecting your own comment. So the first importance of physics I will discuss is in the aspect of technology. You see, physics has been the basic foundation for technological innovations over the years. Remember when I did talk about sciences, I said that curiosity is the mother of knowledge, right? And when you're curious to see why are things going on the way they do, and then you then look at different materials around you and try to use them to make work better, more efficient, and even more relaxing and the likes like that, you are also contributing to technology due to your knowledge of physics. Like take for example, when it comes to issues like uh, way back then when people have to walk long distance to get from one place to the other, and then this has been made easy by innovations such as production of vehicles amongst other things like that, which now makes transporting from one point to another very easy. You see production of machines that make life so easy. What would take a person days, months to produce, you see machines that produce these things in a matter of minutes, right? This is what one of the importance of physics, because it produces these machines, these devices that make our lives easy, even up to the point of our smartphones, our laptops and the like for example, you are watching this video via the internet. It's also something that is brought to you because of what? Physics. Some people just sat down, thought, consider what they see around them and try to make things better, and then they went on to produce what we know today as smartphones, what we know today as laptops, and the internet at large. And now you and I can connect over the internet and we can discuss physics at this level. So you see the beauty of technology that is brought to you courtesy of physics. Now, another aspect that we're going to consider when it comes to the importance of physics is in the area of energy. You see, we cannot take away this from physics. Remember, at the definition of physics, I mentioned that two things are very important, matter and energy. This is the major reason why we actually study physics. It helps us to see how we can harness the energy that surrounds us. You see, around us, we have an untapped energy, so many untapped energy around us. We have those that cannot be exhausted, inexhaustible sources of energy that surround us. See, many years ago the sun was only there for just heating up everybody. When it is summertime, everybody comes out and experience the warmth of the sun. But nowadays we see that we can even use that solar energy to generate electricity. And even if you are in places where the normal conventional electricity is not available, with the use of solar panels, you too can have electricity. You can have access to electronic gadgets with the use of solar panel. That way you are harnessing solar energy to produce electricity. This is one of those very important aspects of physics, because the fundamental law of energy is that energy is neither created nor destroyed. You see, everything we use that has to do with energy today was not created by one person. They were already existing. All we had to figure out is how can we convert this particular form of energy into another form of energy. And then you see how sometimes mechanical energy can be converted to electrical energy in cases like generators and the likes. You see how light energy can give you heat energy. We see how mechanical energy can convert to kinetic energy in the productions of fans and the like. These are very important keynotes to mention when it comes to why physics is important to you and I. Now, thirdly, what we're going to consider here is in the area of medicine. See, I remember reading an article one time about how in time past, someone having a headache would be treated by drilling a hole on the person's head. That was because of the amount of knowledge they had at that time. But you see, today, this has changed so much. You see, even patient care in hospitals now has become way better because of innovations that is brought about by physics. Look at the MRI machine, look at CAT scan machines. All these machines that are developed to make medicine even better, they are applied in such a way that it helps doctors to be able to diagnose patients way faster. They are able to recognize the problem areas and then use the proper treatment technique to ensure that their patient has a better quality of life. So you see how physics can be very important. Like for example, what we know today as the MRI machine did not start as an MRI machine. It was someone who was doing his own study and he published an article on how that could have been used. And then another person picked it up and said, oh, if this can be used in this case, then we can use it to identify where there are problem areas in tissues of a human. And then it developed what we know today as MRI machines that are used in hospitals. These are people who are curious to see how they can use the knowledge they have to develop new techniques, new machines that makes life easy. That is another importance of physics. And then the fourth one I'm going to mention is in the area of our environment. I believe you are familiar with climate change. You see, gone are the days when we do things with reckless abandon and we just do things anyhow without thinking of the consequences on our environment. Now, the study of physics has opened the minds and hearts of so many people to see that they cannot sit down and watch as the environment becomes even more destroyed. Climate change is a real thing, and people are actively doing things to reverse the effect of climate change. Look at the production of green energy, for example. Instead of developing energy from fossil fuel and the likes, we can now rely on things like solar energy, like wind energy, very clean energy that also protects our environment. So you see here we have mentioned 4 areas where physics has been important to preserving human life, making life even more easier. So I would like you to also mention some other areas of physics that has been helping you, that you consider as the importance of physics. So keep your comments coming. Having looked at why physics is so important to us, now it is important to note that everybody who study physics has a reason for which they are studying that physics. Okay, not just any people don't just go on and say I want to study physics. There is usually a reason behind their decision to study physics, and this reason differs from person to person. That is, the reason why a particular person is studying physics is different from why another person decides to study physics. Now we're going to look at some of those common reasons why people study physics, and just pay attention and then we'll look at them. You might be able to pick your own reason from this, or one of these reasons might inspire you to actually study physics. Now, the first reason we are mentioning here is understanding the world. Now, when we look at the definition of physics, we see that it helps us to understand the natural world that is around us. We get to see how things are the way they are. We look at everything that makes up the world, that is matter, and how it relates with energy. Now, there are people who do this study so that they can be able to answer critical questions as to why the universe operates the way it does. Now, when you look at things around you, you observe, you look at different things that goes on around you. It puts that curiosity inside of you. And you know, curiosity is the mother of knowledge. So when you ask yourself, why is it this way? Why does this look like this? You are studying physics, and then that way you can begin to grow your knowledge more and more. So there are people who actually study physics so that they can have a better understanding of the natural world around them and be able to give explanation as to why things happen the way that they do. Now, another reason why people study physics is because of technological advancement. You see, when you gather knowledge, your curiosity will birth knowledge, which will in the end lead to innovations. Now, there are people who study physics to be able to fuel that part of their mind and then make them innovators, be able to improve the technology around them. You see that things have always been changing in different eras. The way they do things in the Stone Age is different from how it is done in this technological era. So there are people who are investing in this to ensure that they are able to bring about innovations that change how people do things around them. So there are people that look at this aspect and then it encourages them to study physics. It might be why you want to study physics. Perhaps you also want to be an inventor. You want to create something that makes lives better for the next person. This could be a reason for you to study physics. Now, thirdly, there are people who study physics to enhance their problem-solving skills. You see, physics itself actually teaches the students critical thinking, right? It helps them to be able to analyze things better. They have that analytical skill. They look at things and look at it in more detail and explain it even better. And beyond that, it also helps them to develop problem solving strategy. Now, as a physicist, when you look at something around you, you don't just look at it and just describe how it works. You also think, why does it work the way it does? Is there anything I can do that will make me harness this energy that I am experiencing here and use it to create something? Then you solve problems with this. And this is also a very great reason to study physics. If you have so many unanswered questions and you want to improve your problem solving skills, physics is a very good subject for you to study. Now, fourthly, another reason why people study physics is to explore career opportunities in physics. Now, many of you who are taking physics for the first time, it was probably during your junior secondary school days, you asked yourself, what do I really want to do with my life? Perhaps you thought, oh, I would like to pursue a career in engineering, or I would like to pursue a career in data analytics, and so on like that. Now, this has informed the reason why some people study physics. Now, because they want to do things that are science inclined, they have to study physics. So many people, in fact, a high percentage of those who study physics do this because of this particular reason. Now, I'm going to add one more reason to this. Now, let's call that the fifth reason. Many people also study physics just to pass exams. Now, what does this mean? There are people who believe that having a good grade will open doors for them. So they just go into physics, they look at what is being taught. Many of them do what is called the cramming technique. They memorize so many things, go into exam hall and ace it. And as a result, that good grade opened doors for them. Now, it's not a bad idea in all sense, but I believe as students, you should have even more reason than just having good grades. Because what's the essence of having a good grade in physics if you cannot use the physics that you have learned to actually change the world around you? I encourage you to be the type of person that brings change to the world. Pick a better reason for studying physics, put your energy into it, and watch the world around you become even better. Please drop a comment for us as to why you are studying physics. Is it because you want to understand the world around you? Is it because you also want to gain technological advancement? Is it because you want to improve your problem-solving skills? Is it because you are seeking a career opportunity that is open to those who study physics? Or is it just because you want to pass examination? And if you have any reason that is outside of these 5 reasons that we have stated, we also look out for your comments. Please drop it. Tell us why you are studying physics. Now, for those of you who are doing physics majorly because it is in line with your career, or perhaps you are not certain of what career line you want to go through, and you would like to know some of the career opportunities that are open to those who study physics. So let us look at the career opportunities that are in physics. Now, I've been able to group them into 5 groups of career opportunities. Now, within each of these career opportunities, there are several jobs that are there. So it's not just, when we say research, it doesn't mean there's just one job there and the likes. So you should be able to narrow it down to which part of physics do you want to build a career in. So the first one we have here is in research. For those who conduct experiments, conduct research, write articles, develop laws and theories in physics. Now, these laws and theories that they develop could be in any field of physics. I remember when we talk about the branches of physics, right? It could be in astrophysics, it could be in mechanics, it could be in quantum mechanics. Most of the things we know today in physics came from those who actively researched and published the result of their research. So there are people who do this. You could have interest in finding out more about things around you and then want to conduct experiments to prove things that work around you as well. So those who have this interest are going to pick career opportunities in research. Now, we also have career opportunities in engineering. This is where many people usually run to because it involves the application of physics principles to design and develop new technologies and even products. So, and there are different fields of engineering, different types of engineering, from mechanical engineering to civil engineering to electrical engineering, electrical electronics engineering, so many types of engineering that we have. So depending on what you have interest in, Is it in building structures? Then that will be civil engineering. Is it in developing machines? That will be mechanical engineering. And what's even more interesting is that even under these different types of engineering, there are even subfields. That is, you could be doing mechanical engineering and then you specialize in a particular type of machine. So you see there, it's very wide. There are so many job opportunities even in engineering alone. And then we have those who have interest in data analytics. They become data analysts. They are able to use statistical and computational techniques to analyze data in various fields, whether it is you're analyzing data in astrophysics, whether you're analyzing data in mechanics, in quantum mechanics, in even relativity and the likes like that. You could, if you have the skill to use statistical methods or techniques, then one opportunity that you should be seeking is that of the data analysis. And then for number 4, we have medical physicists, or often called the biophysicists. Now, what these people do is that they apply physics principles to development or research of medical procedures, techniques, and even treatment. I did mention something earlier where I said a different researcher was doing his research and he discovered how you could do magnetic and resonance to detect things around, okay? And another person who is interested in medical physics looked at that research and used it to develop what we know today as the MRI machine. So you see, these people, they look at the physics principles that they've learned over the years to develop techniques, to develop treating procedures that can give patients a better quality of life. Now, the final career opportunity I'll discuss here is that of teaching. So you could also study physics to become a teacher. Now, when I say teacher, it is not only limited to classroom teaching or lecture hall kind of teaching. If you specialize in any of these fields that I've mentioned earlier, you can also be a teacher in that field. You can be an engineer that teaches other engineers. You can be a data analyst that teach other data analysts, and so on like that. So it's one of the broadest career opportunities you have in physics because it is limitless. No matter the field you focus on, you can become a teacher of physics. And what they do is that they teach physics and inspire the future generation of scientists. On any field of physics, they develop people who will in turn contribute to science and even make it better. So now, folks, we've been able to look at what physics is. We've looked at different aspects of physics. We've looked at career opportunities in physics, reasons why people study physics, and so on. We would like to hear from you. If you have any question on what we have done so far, kindly put it in the comment section and we'll definitely attend to all of your comments. And please don't forget to give us a like and also ensure that you share the videos because it is our goal to reach many students who are in need of helpful content like this. So we are always here to give you content like this. So please keep sharing so that we can reach a wide range of audiences that are in need of these videos. And if you are here to subscribe, kindly take a moment of your time, click the subscription button, and then you can also hit the notification bell icon. Now, what this does is that every time we put out a new content, as long as you have the notification bell icon clicked, you will be notified. That is, you receive a notification telling you that Oya Learn has dropped a new content that you are definitely interested in. So please click the subscription button, click the notification bell icon. The study of physics continues. This brings us to the end of week 1 for the SS1 physics first term scheme of work. So I'll be seeing you in the next video, which will be week 2. Bye for now.